What is going on, everybody? Man, it's been a while since I've done one of these. Lunchtime Railfanning with your host, Jason the Train Freak. Looks like we got a few people in the chat already, so that's awesome. Pretty nice day today. It's not terribly hot. We had a cold front come through yesterday. Stormed like crazy. I hear horns, but I think that's probably a truck or something. But anyways, let's see who's in the chat, and hopefully we'll see if a train comes today. Yesterday I sat out here, had two go by, so you never know. All right, so I got Inked Rails in the house. I got Willow Creek Industrial Spur. We got Hot Dog Pilot Andy here, Colin Whites, Joe Rader, channel member. Welcome, Joe. And I believe that is it. So I was not able to be on Steve Childers' live stream earlier today. I normally try to get on at 11 o'clock Central. He starts at 10:30 Central, but 11 o'clock Central my time. Was not able to get on. I did get in the chat later to the end. Had a meeting this morning, and man, work has been crazy the past few weeks. So that's why I haven't been able to be live. Sitting at the tracks in a while, just had, it's kind of slowing down, but not really. So, Friday, thank God it's Friday. Weekend is upon us. For those that have daylight savings time, that changes Saturday night. So you only got one more day to enjoy that daylight in the evening because we ain't got much of it left. Jack's here. Oh, Jack's at jury duty. So Jack, is he guilty or innocent? And work, what's that? I know, right, Joe? But yeah. Caught a couple of trains yesterday. I will upload that on the channel for the channel members to see. Caught a really cool one the other day. Had a really nice piece of artwork, and I don't call this graffiti by any means. It was not a tag. They literally took a covered hopper. It was a C&W covered hopper. They left the reporting marks alone, but from side to side, top to bottom, was like a landscape. It looked like trees in a forest with a pond. And they even put the reflection of the tree trunks in the water. So that was pretty cool to see. But it also had an old Western Pacific covered hopper on it towards the end. Surprised that there are still some BN cars around. Yeah, actually one of the trains I caught yesterday had a whole bunch of old BN wood chip hoppers. And the reason I know that is because on the outside bracing, on the sides of the bracing, it's still white. But you could see where they spray painted green where the white logo was on the metal plate. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was literally some Bob Ross stuff for that one for sure. I mean, that car, I don't know how long it was sitting, but that car had to sit a while because it was some straight up Bob Ross looking stuff. So one of the coolest catches I've seen in a long time. Every once in a while I'll see like, artwork that takes up like part of a car. One of the trains I saw the other day, and I didn't film it because I was on the phone. And there was a box car. It was a BKTY box car. It's one of the UP beer ones. And it would have been cool if the door was not open, but the door was halfway open, so it kind of distorted the picture some. But the whole side of the boxcar was painted Alice in Wonderland. So that was pretty cool too. It's not like Bob Ross quality, but it was pretty cool nevertheless. So Intrails is saying the one that I caught had two BN cars. It's rare to see them up here in Ontario. And we got 156 Andrew, the Shortbread Express in the house. What's going on, Andrew? And it sounds like they are sending it to the steel mill for meltdown. No, it was still in service. It was so the C&W car that was all painted up as a Bob Ross thing, it was actually a UP patched with C&W reporting marks. It's still a fairly newer car. It looked really good. So, all right, let me take a look and see if we have anything coming today. Right now, no headlight signals, not showing anything. The two that I caught yesterday were both southbound. So I had a green signal on track 2, and they were both in notch 8. Like, you could really see the first one smoking because they had mostly GE units, especially on the point. So they had some GEVOs pulling, and heck yeah. So, all right, what is everybody's projects on their layouts for the weekend? And then I'll be glad to share with you what I've been doing on mine, because I have been working on some stuff. Had some life changes happen. I don't know if my lovely bride, she's on lunch break right now. I don't know if she is in the chat or not, so I kind of have to be careful, because I told her, I said I was going live. But Amanda has decided to take a new job, and she is travel nursing again. So this is the second time she's done it. It's been 7-8 years since she travel nursed. So she is over in the great town of Nashville, working over there some. And with that being said, I've been able to kind of work on projects during the evenings. Not every evening, but some evenings. So got my jeweler's saw in and got to play with it for the first time yesterday. And man, let me tell you, dude, that thing is awesome. And for those who don't know what a jeweler's saw is, it looks like a coping saw, but it is not a coping saw. I bought a coping saw from Harbor Freight, and no, don't do that. Go to Amazon, get you a jeweler's saw. The blades are so much thinner, so much smaller, and you can cut rail with ease. Especially for you N-scalers. This is great for N-scalers, because if you need to gap your rails for any reason, you definitely need a jeweler saw. It makes it so much easier without damaging the rails that you don't want to gap. But more or less, been working on the double slip. So the point rails, there's 4 on each side, and you have one throw bar throwing 4 point rails. It's a little too stiff, so what I had to do is take the jeweler saw, cut the rails, and then I took rail joiners and used the jeweler saws to cut those in half. And I soldered the rail joiners onto the soldered in pieces of the point rails, slide the point rails in, and they hinge a lot better. So I started gluing wood ties on the double slip last night. That double slip, man, it's been a project, because what I had to end up doing was the one that I did live like a year ago. It did not turn out great. So when I bought the jig, I took it apart, used what rail I could out of it, and just recommissioned it. So, Brian said I don't have a layout, unfortunately, but I'm trying to detail a lot of buildings. I'm trying to finish for the next layout. Hey, nothing wrong with that. That's what Rick Bailey does. He doesn't have a layout either. He just does a whole bunch of building kits. And we got Tim, CP368 in the house. Nothing for the weekend. Building the shed next week, but bought some stuff from Model Train Stuff and Train World. Oh, that's cool. Hey, Finnerton Central Model Railway. What is going on from over on the other side of the pond? I hope you are having a good one, my friend. Let's see, what else we got going on? And by the way, for those who don't know Finnerton, his name is Brian as well. And we got Wigwag Workshop in the house as well. What's going on, Steven? And let's see here. Okay. Got a lot of people saying hi to everybody else, which is awesome. So what's going on? And yeah, Steven's another one. I don't have a layout. I just built a whole bunch of kits. There's nothing wrong with that. So nothing wrong with that at all. Still no train. But I'm going to be here for another, about 50 minutes. So a little less than an hour. I'll be here for an hour today because that's my lunch break for the day. So I'll be here for about an hour. You never know when one's coming. There's no way for me to be notified if one is coming on the rails or not. It's whenever Union Pacific decides to send one this way. There's no set timetable, no set schedule. It's just whenever they want to. For me, I really don't have much going on. I've been building some trackage. Been putting wooden ties on the crossover and turnout that I built live. Oh, that was last weekend, I think. So I've been getting the wood ties on it, and it will be going on the layout here pretty soon. And then, of course, I've been working on the double slip that will also be going on the layout here pretty soon, too. And Andy's going to be doing some locomotive servicing. That's always a fun and daunting task. Let's see here. And switching layouts, in my opinion, are so much more fun than layouts that go in a circle. But layouts that go in a circle are more appeasing to having guests watch it. Whether it's people that are actually coming over, or if it's going live on YouTube, people can watch your trains run. That's why the layout that I'm building incorporates both. That's if I ever get it built, because I've only got maybe 40% of the bench work done, and I'm kind of being anal retentive on not wanting to build the bottom level until I have all the wiring on the top, underneath the top level done first, so that way I'm not having to climb in between levels. Yeah, Brad, dude, your layout is it's like on point, man. It is straight on point. So for those that are not in the Train Freak Facebook group, where you can post pictures of what you're doing on your layout. Speaking of, I do need to look at getting the next episode of Rail Yard tagging up. There should be a link down in the description where you can go and join the Facebook group. Doesn't matter your scale, your era, your skill level, your location, what type of trains you model, whether it's American, European, Asian. I think African and South American and Australian also have trains. So it doesn't matter. If you want to share with what you're doing, check out the Facebook group. But let me tell you, Willow Creek, Brad, he is doing some phenomenal scenery. That is no lie. And if you're not working on the layout and you're just running trains, why don't you just take a picture of the train you're running on the layout? For example, Joe could take a picture of his mellow yellow train. And for those who don't know, you have to go check out Joe Rader's channel to see what the mellow yellow is about. All right, let's see here. And let's see. So that's my only option. I will probably do around the wall like Heath has also. Yeah, and you could do that and build, put in like a removable section, or do a swing gate like what Crooked River and Eastern Dave did. If you do want something to go around the room, I mean, continuous running. That's what I'm gonna call them. Continuous running trains are great for a certain aspect. Like if you're, like for me, if I'm working on the layout and I want a train to run while I'm working on the layout, then yeah, that's great. But for me, if I'm driving the train, I don't want to just drive it in a circle, or an oval, or a dog bone. If I'm doing the driving, I want to do switching. So, well, looky there, Brian joined. When I get off this stream here in a little while, I will go ahead and approve your join request. Or did you join the last time? I can't remember. I know I have close to 100 people in there. I want to say the last time I looked, there was 99 people in the group. So I'm just trying to grow it. The whole purpose of the group is not necessarily for me. It's for y'all, everybody as a community, to share ideas with each other. Because something that somebody might do, you might be like, oh, that looks great. I want to do the same thing on my layout, but give it a small little twist so that way I can kind of make it my own. So that's the great thing about this hobby. We can share ideas with each other and find ways to implement it to where we can still kind of call it our own idea in a way. So yeah, that's the whole purpose of the group. And then of course I do a video sharing that out. I do polls on it. And one of the things that I would like to do, as long as I can make sure that there's no copyright infringements, is to give out channel shout outs. So, and do like maybe 1 or 2 shout outs per episode in the coming future. So I just have to make sure that if I do it, that YouTube doesn't flag me for copyright infringement. Because I really don't want them to take my channel down. Tim is ordering two new locomotives from Train World, and USPS Ground Advantage is $11.06 and Priority is $11.93. They usually aren't that close in price. If I was you, I would get Priority. I would not get Ground Advantage. I know a secret when it comes to the United States Postal Service, and I will share that secret here in just a minute. I see Brian's got a Facebook group too. So, Brian, if you don't mind, I think you have me on Facebook Messenger. Or once you join the group, post the link to your group in there so everyone can join it as well. Because sometimes being in multiple groups, it allows us to be able to connect with more people. So I definitely don't have a problem with people sharing their group once they get into mine. Not at all. Marcus, we got another channel member in the house. What's going on, MR6017? Tim says, I did 2 Athearn Genesis locomotives for $200 each. I love Train World. Yeah, Athearn Genesis is good stuff. And we got another channel member in the house. We got the Tuna Can Express, also known as the Kerley Express. Dwight is in the house. What's going on, Dwight? All right, no train, or no signs of a train. So, I mentioned about United States Postal Service. So this is inside information that has come from my postmaster, my local postmaster, or the guy that works at the post office. When you ship a package, depending on what your package is, there's different pallets, okay? So if you ship Priority, there is a pallet of packages, nothing but Priority. Then there's a pallet of nothing but Ground Advantage, okay, packages. When they load a plane, they load a truck, or whatever they're loading, even if it's a train. I don't think USPS uses trains, but truck or plane, whatever they're loading, they'll load the Priority Express pallets in first. Whatever room is left over, then they'll start loading the Priority pallets in next. And then if there is any room left, then they'll start loading in the Ground Advantage pallets. And they'll load in the oldest pallet first. So if you want your packages quicker, pay the little extra and get Priority. If you don't care when your package comes in, then get a Ground Advantage, because at these big hubs, you know, like St. Louis, Philadelphia, Charlotte, North Carolina, those places where they're processing tons and tons of packages. Your pallet could be sitting there for days before it's able to be moved on, depending on how backed up. And with it, you know, the seasons are coming up. That means more packages are going to be going, so you're better off shipping priority. So, all right, let me make sure I did not miss anything in the chat. Sawmill area, I've kind of taken a break on it. So I'm one of those that when I'm doing projects on the layout, I don't like to constantly do the same type of project all the time. I'll get kind of an itch to kind of change it up and go do a different project. So right now I'm taking a break from the sawmill. I'm not quitting the sawmill. I'm just taking a break. And I am in the process of redoing all of my manufacturer turnouts to hand-built turnouts on the main line. And I'm only doing the main line right now. After I do the main line, then I will start doing the off the main line stuff. Now, where the sawmill is, that whole wall, which is the town of Weiner, Arkansas, all of that's been done because I did the double crossover. That was the last thing that needed to be done in that area. The sawmill, Riceland, it all has hand-built turnouts. So the next town that I've been working on is Hickory Ridge. And the main line needs 2 single crossovers with 2 turnouts to go into what's called a marshalling yard, or it's kind of like an interchange yard between the railroad and the industrial complex. Okay, so I did the other crossover, the north side, or actually no, the south crossover. I did it. I just got to get it finished and get it installed. Then I'm gonna not worry about the trackage except for that double slip because I already had it kind of half-ass built. I'll just put it on the layout. It's not even going to be attached. It'll just be sitting out of the way. But then I'm going to do the crossover over in the town of Brinkley, which is actually a crossover, a turnout, 2 diamonds, and another crossover. So and I'm going to be building it as one build. So that's going to be a pretty massive build. But before I can do that, I'm going to have to either get on Yankee Dabbler or Iron Planet Hobbies, use discount codes and see where I can get a better price for micro engineering code 83 rail. So that way I can build more turnouts. After I get the main line done, I might go back to Hickory Ridge and start working the inner trackings over there. And then when I get done with it, then I might do the same thing at Brinkley. Or I might go back to the sawmill. I don't know which direction I want to go to yet. But I'm just one of those that I kind of like to go different projects, you know, at different times. Because if I get kind of frustrated with something, then it kind of gets me to where, okay, I need to take a break from that. Let me go over here. So, all right, that probably got me a little behind in the chat. So let's see here. Speaking of the man that was on earlier today, Steve Childers, the Retirement Railroad, and he is done walking his dog. So sorry, Steve, I could not get on today with you. Thank you so much. I will definitely join that one. And Joe loves it when I talk about the town of Weiner, Arkansas. If only Oscar Mayer was headquartered in that place, then it would really be something special. Because then the Wienermobile would be in Weiner. Nothing today so far. So there's been days that I've been coming to lunch and I have not seen anything. It's like the traffic is hit or miss with the trains, but Tuesday I caught one, which is the one that I put up that had the Bob Ross artwork. Probably should have put that in the title, Bob Ross artwork on it. Because it was a really nice piece of artwork on that covered hopper. And then Wednesday I caught one, but I was on the phone, and then yesterday I caught two. So, but Monday I didn't catch anything. So, I mean, it's just hit or miss. Struggling to find modern wood chip cars. Trying to think. Didn't I see where Walters is fixing to come out with some? I want to say it might have been a few months ago that they're accepting pre-orders, or your local hobby shop could do pre-orders that they order through Walters. I want to say I saw something about some of the modern wood chips coming out. And Steve has ridden in one of the Wienermobiles, but he has not had the luxury to drive it. So, look, I don't want to ride in it. If I'm going to get in the Wienermobile, you better let me up under that wheel. I want to drive it. But no, I have seen it, come through Arkansas several times. So, big promotional thing, especially at the grocery stores and whatnot. But anyways, but no, some of the projects as far as the layout goes, talking about finding cars. So for the sawmill, doing my research, unlike other people in the community, Mr. John C. Andia, who's not here. So I was doing my research about, wood chip hoppers that the Cotton Belt had. And Cotton Belt acquired wood chip hoppers in 1962, which were 40-footers, open hoppers, extended height. I modeled 1958, so I'm like, well, what did they do then? Couldn't find a lot of information on it, but I happen to have a friend who is the historian for the Cotton Belt Historical Railroad Society, and he told me that what they used was 40-foot composite gondolas. Well, it wasn't composite gondolas, they were emergency gondolas after doing a little bit further research. But he kind of led me in the right direction, and I'm like, well, what is that? Comes to find out, only one manufacturer has ever made a Cotton Belt War emergency gondola. All right, Andy, have a good one, buddy. You be safe over there, and we will see you next time. So what it is, it's a gondola with a wooden bottom, wooded side, and metal framing. So the chassis is metal, the braces are all metal, the ends are metal, but the sides and the bottom is wooden. And they would even have these little hatches on the bottom. So if you were carrying bulk goods, whether it was like some type of produce or rock, gravel, in my case, wood chips, you either have people hop in and they shovel it out with shovels, or they would open those bottom hatches, let it flow out on both sides, and then people would come in with brooms and sweep it out. So only one manufacturer has ever made that model, even for Cotton Belt, in N scale, not HO. And it was Atlas, which surprises me because Atlas is a big manufacturer for HO scale. So they made this car. They didn't give it the right numbering scheme. The road number on it was more for the steel gondolas, but they did make an accurate model of it. So I did buy it in N scale, so that way I had an accurate depiction of it, even though it's not the right scale. I just got to kind of double the scale and I'll be okay. And then I bought all the materials to scratch build. So that's going to be one of the projects I'm going to do. Finishing the sawmill scene, that is going to be a big project. I'm going to go ahead and I've got the signal LCCs for the Wiener crossover ordered in, and I've already been talking to Richard about getting me a price on the signals for the Wiener crossover. So that'd be kind of a quicker project per se, because I'm only doing signal mast. I'm not doing any bridge or anything like that there. And then, of course, working on getting Hickory Ridge is getting a total revamp. The industries are staying put, but the trackage is going to be totally redone. It's going to make it to where I can have my locals service Hickory Ridge both northbound and southbound. Right now, they can only service it northbound. So the southbound local has to go past Hickory Ridge to Brinkley, drop cars off to pick cars back up to run north. So this is going to make it to where now those cars don't have to go down into Brinkley just to come back. It makes no sense. Still nothing. So, and I got to get me a little bit of a drink. But anyways, so how many cars am I going to scratch build? I plan on doing 4. And because I've only, at the sawmill, there's only one spot for the cars to be loaded with wood chips. Even though I did make the track long enough that I could technically fit 2 there if they manually moved the cars after loading. Because some places, that's what they would do. They would use this big pry bar, stick it under the wheel, and when they pull down, it would cause the car to start rolling forward. And they would do that a few times, and then hop on the car, turn the brake wheel to stop it. So I could do that. So, but for me to do my NMRA Master Builder of Cars certificate, I just have to have 4 that are scratch built. And they do have to score 4 out of the 8. So there's 8 cars you got to super detail, but 4 of them's got to be scratched. So I might do 4 more later on and bump it up to 8, but right now it's just going to be 4. And, oh, Dwight's been ballasting. That's always fun. And that's another thing about me doing the trackage. Like when I built the first crossover for the town of Hickory Ridge, of course I got the double crossover in Wiener, and I got several single turnouts in Wiener. That's actually the 3 trackage types that I need for my civil engineering certificate. I've already got the electrical engineering one done, but I got to get the track all wired back up and run a locomotive through there. And then I believe I have to paint. Well, I don't have to paint, but I'm going to paint because it would be stupid not to paint before ballasting, but I have to have them ballasted. So I'm going to end up painting and ballasting the required 50 linear feet of track. And then I can have my NMRA division director come by the house and sign me off on that certificate, and that would be my second NMRA certificate, which would be, that'd be what, 2 out of 7. And so I'm still working on scenery, master builder cars, and then the other one being association volunteer. That one just, that's time. That one's just going to take time on that one. And still have nothing. So, but yeah, like I said, the train's here, hit and miss. Some days we have them, some days we don't. This weekend, I'm going to try to get back on trackage. If not, I might be working on customer locomotives. I know tomorrow morning, I got to go to a client's house and finish up his signal install and his signaling system. We put LCC on there. His main line's dark, but he's got a couple of diamonds that he wanted interlocking signals to protect on it. So what we did with the LCC system, so this is just some information for y'all if this is something you're interested in. we put single pole, single throw, or I guess it would be double throw, on off rocker switches on his layout, but it's only got 2 little brad, so, and we've got it connected to the LCC system, so the signals will stay red when you turn the system on, but as soon as you turn one of the switches on, it will make a certain signal go green to let you know that you can proceed through the diamond, like at an interlocking. And then, of course, once the train runs through it, it will go red again until the train clears it. And then you can, hit it down to turn it off. But if you try to turn 2 of them on, whichever one came on first would be the one that's green. It won't let 2 of them be green. So probably association volunteer will be my first AP certificate. Okay. Or railroad author. Well, I will tell you this. I looked at doing railroad author, and it's not for me. But to become a master model railroader, you have to have either association, elected ones. It's like the elected positions. You got to serve so many years in that. Association volunteer or railroad author. And so I did volunteer because I'm a merit badge counselor for Boy Scouts of America, which will soon be called Scouting America, for the railroading merit badge. And so every month that I serve at that, I get a time unit. Every scout I help earn that badge, I get a time unit. And once I get 60 time units, that's all I need for that certificate. Railroad author was going to require a little bit more, but I'm just looking. I really don't want to put the time into writing up articles and whatnot. I do have a picture in a nationally published magazine, which would be points counted to that, but it's not one that I'm looking at trying to earn or trying to get. I think my hardest one for me to earn is going to be chief dispatcher, because I have to do that on other people's layouts. I mean, I could do it on my own, but that requires me having people come over and run trains, which they have to be NMRA members. So I think Kerley Express is going for the NMRA lowest time it takes to longest time it takes to ballast a bridge. I didn't think you ballast a bridge, because normally, I guess unless it's like maybe a plate girder bridge that has a solid bottom, maybe those you can ballast, but I know like truss bridges, you don't ballast those. I have volunteered at every train show except one in the convention and been published in our regional newsletter twice. Oh, that's nice. All right, Brian, enjoy your tea. Have a good one, my friend, and we will see you next time. And like I said, later today, I will go join your group. Oh, badge. Well, there's not a badge specifically for ballasting. Ballast is part of the civil engineer badge, but until Dwight decides that he wants to hand build turnouts, he won't be earning that one at all. So, but I will tell you, I like the hand built turnouts a whole lot better than the manufacturer stuff. They go so much smoother. So much. And I can build things custom that manufacturers don't provide. So if I want a curved turnout where the outside radius is 30 inches, like the Atlas curve turnouts, but I don't want that 24-inch inside radius, and I want it a little bigger, I can build that. Why? Because I've already done it. Or maybe I want the inside track at 30 inches and the outside track bigger. I've done it. I will say this. I was watching Distant Signal the other day. I don't know if y'all follow him or not. He's out of Lakeland, Florida. Yeah, I think Lakeland, Florida. And he was talking about turnout size on the real railroad, and the smallest turnout he could find was a number 8. And here we're using number 4s as our smallest. So I guess we're all wrong if we're not using number 8s or larger. He said one of them was like a number 35.5. I was like, holy crap. That's a long turnout. So, do you have any new industry ideas for the layout? Well, I need to think about what I'm going to be doing over at Brinkley. I need some industry ideas over there. I've got one building that my buddy John's building on the layout. He's kit bashing it for me because he just wants to. And it's basically going to be 2 different industries with a central office. So it looks like 2 buildings, but it's got 2 tracks. The way the building looks, think of like 2 rectangles, but this rectangle sits down a little lower. And so with a little central corridor in the middle, it's kind of U-shaped. I got to think about 2 different industries for it. And then possibly 2 more industries for Brinkley as well, but I haven't really thought about what they're going to be yet. So Tim's looking forward to the next weekend when I will be operating on our AP chairman's layout. That'd be pretty cool. So are you trying to go after Chief Dispatch certificate as well, Tim? That would be probably a pretty easy one to do. I mean, if you're able to work and do layouts, there is not, like the NMRA does not have much of a presence here in Arkansas. I'm not saying there's not anybody. It's just it's not a big presence. And the way that the regions or the divisions are split in the state makes no sense to me. They have it split into 3 divisions, but really I think Arkansas could get away with 2. I don't think there needs to be 3. I think it just get away with 2. Have a division for actually there is another division that takes up 2 counties up in the northwest corner of the state. They could probably expand that division a little bigger and then kind of redo. I really think the divisions in Arkansas need redone. Mainly because there's just not a lot of people. There's a pretty good presence. When I say pretty good, so the Little Rock area where I'm out of, there's about 15 members. But then you got another division about an hour away, which is Hot Springs. And there's about another 10 over there. If we were all in the same division, that would be like 25 people. 25 to 30 people, which would make a good group. Because I still considered Hot Springs kind of central Arkansas-ish. So Tim saying, not intentionally, our division has started doing monthly operating sessions rotated between the members' layouts. Well, see, that's how you can earn it, though, Tim. You can earn it that way. Because the thing is, to do chief dispatch, you have to have 50 total hours of operating time. 10 hours has to be as a dispatcher. And then the rest of the 40 hours have to be split between 2 of the other 4 groups, which require a minimum of 10 hours. So if you're doing engineer, you're already accumulating the hours for that. So the easiest way would probably do engineer, yardmaster, and then dispatch, chief dispatch or dispatcher. And as long as you do at least 10 hours each of those, that's 30 hours. You just need 20 more hours. So you could easily earn that. Here, we don't have any op sessions going on at all. Most of the people here that have layouts aren't even NMRA members. And I've even been trying to talk some of them into signing up to be in the NMRA, just so that way I could get credited on doing op sessions at their layouts. One of those being the guy that I'm going to see tomorrow. Brad's saying I need to get back into operations at some stage. Absolutely. Now, Tim, are they doing more JMRI switch list, or are they doing like car cards and waybills? I'm fine with either or, but as far as my layout goes, I started off with the car cards and waybills, and I will tell you, I like the switch list a lot better. I like more of the randomization, less of me having to create stuff, you know. Y'all, we might be missing out on a train today. Looks like there ain't none in the area. And I will tell you this, at work this morning, I have not heard of a single one. So traffic could be dead. I have a hard time believing that it's not goods needing to be moved through. I think more what it could be is the lack of number of engineers and or conductors. And so they probably don't have crew ready to go. I think that's probably more what it is. I have known several people to quit the railroad because of the crap that was going on last year, especially with the unions. So it would not surprise me. But of course, I can't do any ops on the layout right now except for the sawmill in Riceland until I get the layout, until I get at least the main line back up. I could at least do some simulation. I just can't fully go in and pick up and drop off cars. But as soon as I get, one of the towns done, then there we go. Hey, 18 hours, that's nothing to stiff at, Tim. I mean, 18 hours, that's like what, 40% just about? Yeah, dice method, that's pretty cool too. That's still work that you have to kind of do because it's like, okay, I got to figure out what I need here, what I need there. JMRI, like once you get it set up, it's just pretty much you click, say build a train, and it builds the train for you, tells you what you need, what you're going to be picking up, what you're going to be dropping off, and then how you're going to end. For me, it's just so much more simplistic that way. And then the cool thing is with JMRI, once you tell, like in your dispatch panel, once you tell where the train is coming from, and as it goes through the panel on the panel pro, you can actually see a train indication of where your train is moving along the blocks. So that's something pretty cool. I got that to work a couple of times. That was before my computer crashed, and I never tried to get it back up again since. Because I just, haven't been at that point. But that is something pretty cool seeing, though. Just two. I'm not going three. Three is too much. I'm just going 2 levels. Yeah, two's going to be plenty. And, if you think about it, I'm running 2 20-foot walls, a 15-foot wall. I'm coming out more than halfway into the middle of the room. So a continuous run could go 20, 20 would be 40. Let's say that I started in Jonesboro. Jonesboro's a little more than 15 feet. Let's say 15 feet, okay? So if you started in Jonesboro, that would be going behind the layout 6 feet. Hey, Edward. How's it going, bud? So you got 6 feet kind of going behind the backdrop. So then you got not exactly 20 feet. So let's say 18 feet. 18 feet in the town of Wiener. So that puts us at to what? 24? No. Yeah, 24 feet. Let's go another 18 feet. So 34, 42 feet. And then let's say 16 feet. 42 and 16 would be 58 feet. Let's go another 16 feet. That would be 52 and 16 would be what, 68 feet? Multiply that by 2. So 60, 68, 68 would be 136. And that's not including the helix. I mean, that's a lot of footage just for a double level. It's more than enough. I'm not sure if I'll have the opportunity to get 10 hours as a dispatcher. So far, no one uses them except for the Rochester Model Railroad Club. Why don't you go there and get it? It doesn't have to be the same layout. You accumulate it from multiple layouts. There, at the back end of the certificate, there's actually a log that you have to fill out what you did, how many hours, and someone has to sign off on each individual one. That would be an easy certificate for you. Much easier than me. But I'm trying to make that change. All right, Stephen, have a good one, buddy. We will see you next time. Well, I believe if you go in and say, hey, I'm trying to earn my certificate, can you help me? If they don't want to help you, then that's bullshit. I'm just going to say that right now. If you are trying to earn something in the model railroading community, especially through the NMRA, and somebody doesn't want to give you the opportunity and teach you and help you so that way you can earn it, you only need 10 hours. You don't need 100, just 10. If they don't want to help you, that's bullshit. There you go. That's all you got to do. Because the thing is, if you don't ask, the automatic answer is going to be no. But if you do ask and they say no, that's bullshit. I have a hard time believing that if you go in there and saying, hey, I'm working on this, I would go ahead and have your thing printed out so that way you can show them I'm working on this. Because the thing is, even though you've already done 18 hours, if you didn't document it, you didn't get it signed off or initialed, unfortunately, those 18 hours don't count unless you go back and get them to say, hey, yeah, you did do this. Then it counts. You have to document everything. That's the thing about it is nothing is ever taken at word anymore. If it's not documented, it never happened. And that's with anything, outside of model railroading. Like when I do my IT tickets, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in this day because nobody can trust anybody these days. Because you got too many people out there trying to break trust right and left. And unfortunately, I got about 5 more minutes. And I don't see a green signal and I don't see a headlight. So we struck out today. Which is kind of sad because it's been a while since I've been able to go live and do some type of rail fanning for y'all. It's been real sad. Because yesterday when I caught those 2 trains, they were literally back to back. Like, the signal never went off. Like, as soon as the train cleared the block, it went yellow, then a flashing yellow, then green. So, and I had to do errands yesterday, so I wasn't even here for a full hour. I was only here for 30 minutes and caught 2 trains. Today, I have not heard anything, and unfortunately, when I go off lunch, I actually got to go to one of the other locations. So I won't know if anything comes by today or not. So, Willow Creek Industrial Spur. Yep. So Edward is saying hi to Brad. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as, my knowledge and things that go on with the NMRA. I mean, Tim, at least you have an active division. Mine is not very active at all. Now, there is a hobby shop that has a really nice layout that they have. It's kind of like a club in a way, but the hobby shop owns the club. So, and not many of those are NMRA members. So it's kind of like, can't use that layout to go towards my thing, because from my understanding is the layouts also have to be registered as layouts within the NMRA. Now, I did register my layout with the NMRA. So you can actually go to the NMRA's website and actually put my layout up. I just don't think I've added any pictures on it yet. When I get scenery and stuff going in it, I will. And the fact that I'm constantly changing my track plan, eventually I will. So, audio went robotic. Okay, well that sucks. So with that being said, if my audio is still robotic or not robotic, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. Y'all have a great one. Be safe out there. Have a great weekend. And I will see y'all next time. Happy railroading.